So there is this story in the Puranas that Lord Shiva was out doing something. Parvati gone to take bath. And Shiva came back home, and then he saw a young boy standing outside trying to prevent him to see Lord Shiva's wife. And Shiva got angry and he chopped the head of the boy. And then by this time, his spouse Parvati came out and she saw this is so bad because she had created this boy out of her own impurities and made him the guard of her home. And here Shiva comes and just chops his head off. And Shiva was so miserable. At that time, then Shiva, of course, like everybody else, had to pacify the wife. To pacify wife, he says, okay, go and get the head of someone who is sleeping with their head towards the north. So his whole team went for a spin to see who is sleeping with their head towards the north. They found none but an elephant. So they took the head of the elephant and came, and Shiva placed that head on a little baby, and he became Ganesha. This is the Ganesha story. When you hear, many questions arise in your mind. This is so absurd. Shiva, who can see through the time, who is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-pervasive, how could he be so angry and rude? Doesn't this question arise in him? Second is, he is so violent. He didn't even know that the boy was his own son or his own wife's creation. He didn't even know that. This is another question. Third question is, okay, even then, he just stopped him for some time because Parvati is taking a shower and Shiva becomes so impatient. So what you see here in Shiva is totally angry and absurd, violent, and completely illogical, and so angry. This is the picture of Shiva. One would get it. My God, if the God is so crude to his own son, how will he protect everybody else or anybody else? This is the question that people ask. But people who do not know the inner secret of this story. Neither Shiva is violent, nor he is stupid. Is he so stupid that he could have kept the same head of the boy back into the body? And why would he keep an elephant head? Just imagine, baby is so small and then elephant head is so big. For that he had to kill another elephant also. This is completely absurd. How would anybody be worshipping such a Lord? This is what will come into anybody's mind. Especially those who do not have been taught in this tradition. They will find it, oh my God, this doesn't make any sense. But just see the inner meaning of this story. This is all symbolic. Such a thing has never happened, but it is a symbolism of something which is stupendous. Shiva represents the transcendental consciousness. Shiva is Shivam Shantam Advaitam Chaturtam Manyante Sa Atma Savikya. Shiva is that self, is the consciousness which is ever peaceful, all pervading, and summum bonum of all creation. The unmanifest energy, that is what Shiva is. And Shakti, or the Parvati, is the manifest energy. Manifest energy always had to go through renewal, rejuvenation, reconstruction. And that's what happens. Renewal, rejuvenation, reconstruction of energy keeps happening. Energy is not static, it is dynamic. When it is dynamic, it ought to produce the byproduct, which is, in some sense, you can call it impurities. The impurities come in that. Like a tree gives fruit, and fruit, as when it is fresh, it is pure. When it rots, it is impure. Similarly, leaves in the tree, when they are in the tree, they are leaves, they are making photosynthesis. The moment they dry and fall, they become compost. I can call it impure. The compost is impure, but they're all part of it. So Prakriti and Vikriti, distortion of energy is part of energy. Whenever Shakti is worshipped, it's always said Prakritim Vikritim. Nature and its distortion. They go hand in hand. Nature has decay as part of it. And decay, distortion, death is all part of nature. So when Parvati has to renew herself, that the distortion that was removed, that was made into a boy to guard. Distortion guards the creation. Every distortion, every compost supports the tree, the growth of a tree. Isn't it? So, death supports the life. It is strange but true. So many cells in your body are dying constantly. Every day, so many cells are dying. Only then it gives rise for new cells to be born. It gives space for new cells to be born in the body. Suppose the old cells are not dying, new cells cannot be born at all in the body. And the other way, vice versa. New cells are born and then the old cells are gone. They become redundant. So, when this was happening, then Shiva came there, and Shiva was stopped by mala or impurities. If your mind is so disturbed, if you are in the distortion, you can never be in the state of wisdom, in the state of serenity. Shiva is serenity. Perhaps the word serenity comes from Shiva, somewhere very close to that. Serene. Serene. That sereneness, when it comes in contact with the mala or the impurity, the distortion vanishes because serenity is more powerful. But without distortion, energy cannot exist. So when Parvati comes in, hey, wake up. It's good when you go within into the depth of oneness of universal spirit, experience the oneness of the universal spirit. You are there, but you have to come out of it to the world, to be active, to even express that, to even say, I had great deep meditation. There has to be somebody who comes out of it. So, you need some amount of impurities, or it's called lesha avidya, little bit of distortion of energy, or we can call it the relative energy. So from the absolute realm, You have to come to the relative realm in order for the relative to exist and to glorify the absolute. The seen world and the unseen world, they both go together. Unseen world glorifies the seen and the seen world glorifies the unseen. That is Shiva and Shakti. So, but then the middle part of it is essential then, because Shakti cannot exist without her own child, her own baby. So then, what is that comes in the way of the pure energy experiencing the infinity is the head, is the intellect. Intellect needs to be transformed. If you keep thinking, you can't experience. You can either think or you can feel it. So to descend to the level of feeling, it's in itself is an art. You keep thinking about something, but feeling it, experiencing it is something different. That is the journey. Spiritual journey is moving from head to heart. So the small mind has to give way in order to experiencing something which is so vast. You can't feel the ocean unless you get into the ocean. You can't stand on the shore of the ocean and feel it. If you have to feel the waves, if you have to feel the ocean, you have to get into it. And what stops from getting into the transcendental nature or the being, self, is the mind, little intellect. Shiva severs that head, and then when Parvati won, she said, okay, go and look for someone who is sleeping with the head to the north. Here in Sanskrit, the north word and answer is the same. There's one word for both north and answer. That is Uttara. Uttara means answer or the final, and also the north. So, one who has the answer for all that is one who is resting with the head in the north. They tried to find, and nobody was resting with their head except an elephant. So they brought the elephant head. And as soon as he got the head, the elephant head, he placed it on the baby's body and gave life back to it and called the baby Vigneshwara. Vigneshwara means one who removes all the obstacles. The head which was obstacle, the small head, cynical head, a prejudiced head is an obstacle to see the truth. But a big head, a head which has a coordination of seeing and hearing. Elephant fans its own eyes with its ears. No other animal fans their eyes with their ears. That's the only animal which fans. Among the animal, the elephant's ears is the one which moves, which has a wide range of listening. 360 degrees from both sides, if you see. So, elephant's head indicates a listening which is beyond the ephemeral, a listening which is beyond the obvious, and the sight which matches, and an elephant's vision is very sharp. So a sharper vision and great listening, and the sense of perception and sense of action is the same in elephant, that is the trunk. It does work with the trunk also. You can lift through the trunk and breathe through the trunk. So, and then elephant has two sets of teeth, one to show, one to chew. Like that, an elephant head is symbol of wisdom, symbol of knowledge beyond the obvious ephemeral existence. An insight into the unknown realm of consciousness is what Ganesha signifies. And then what says? It removes all the obstacles. And so, with all these qualities of an elephant, one can get rid of the obstacles both in the relative and in the sphere of absolute experience of divinity. To do any work in the world, you have to have keenness of observation, dynamism, fearlessness, and have the wisdom to see what is right, what is wrong. And that power comes with these inherent qualities of Ganesha.